Hey, everybody, welcome into the big show. Monday night, yours truly, Coach Goff here with my cast of characters. I can say that now because I'm in the host seat. We have Bradley Weigel, we have Jeffrey Tebbets, and we have the one and only Nick Suberling. Gents, how you doing tonight? Let's go around the horn here. Bradley, how is your evening going after the big news?
Oh man, we've I can't. It's been an interesting day. I feel like it's happening way too often with this club. It's like somebody said it's like our annual new coach episode, whatever. I will never take happiness in somebody losing their job. It sucks because I wanted Jaap Stam to win, kill it, succeed, win trophies, all that. But I just think it was the right move. So a big new big future ahead for FC Cincinnati, and looking forward to see what's up.
That's what we're hoping. Jeffrey, how are you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. Don't mind me. I'm just preparing a little Suero X cocktail I came up with the other day. I think I sort of need it after this weekend, with Spurs basically losing the game the same way that FCC lost their game. I think it's time for cocktails on a Monday night.
I don't know of these Spurs that you're talking about. Does not exist in my universe right now. Subes, you look happy. You're glowing, my friend, sitting there in your dark basement. How you doing tonight? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. I'm sporting the 2016 USL home or away kit, I should say. I'm trying to remind ourselves of simpler times when things were happy and we looked forward to FC Cincinnati games. Maybe now with today's news, we can shed some light on positivity and maybe change going forward. I'm just trying my best to be positive, and usually I'm not. So, yeah.
Before we get to that news, Subes, I want to let everybody know that we have an exciting sponsor, Suero X. Rehydrate with the new Suero X. 0 sugar, 0 calories, and the power of 8 ions that will speed up your recovery time. Keep your body hydrated and balanced, just like your Jeff Tebbets is doing here. Help replenish those 8 main ions that you lose during the day, including zinc, which is very important, I hear. And we're not talking about the white stuff you smush on your nose. We're talking about the inside zinc. But you might need it because there are celebrations ringing out in some parts of the Queen City. Because if you don't know, the big news today that we heard is that FC Cincinnati has parted ways with coach Jaap Stam. He leaves Cincinnati with a career record of 8-26-12, winning 1 of the last 15 matches and losing 6 of the last 7. Along with Jaap Stam, we have Saïd Bakati out and Yohan Damet, who has been a mainstay with the club back since the days when we were going on US soccer runs, right, guys? And I want to read some quotes here, and then we'll get your thoughts. So, quotes from the team. During our nearly 2-month process to identify the next general manager for FC Cincinnati, it was apparent that a head coach change was necessary. Therefore, after a great deal of deliberation, the club has made the decision to now move to the future with Jaap no longer serving as head coach. FC Cincinnati Jeff Birding was the one who put out this press release. He also said, "We believe a change in leadership is in the best interest of the club at this time, you think? And a new general manager will lead the search for a new head coach. We are an ambitious club, and we remain focused on achieving our goals, the first of which is making Cincinnati a championship city." We've heard that before, guys. "We thank Jaap for everything he has done for FC Cincinnati during his time here, and we wish him the best as he can now head home to be with his family." FC Cincinnati also thanked Saïd and Yohan for their dedicated work and commitment. Yohan was with the club for some of their finest moments, Birding said in his statement. "We know that both have long coaching careers in front of them and trust they will see success. Tyrone Marshall, who is currently the head coach of SC Cincinnati's U19 squad and the future U23 squad that'll start up next year, will assume the duties of head coach on an interim basis, and the search for a new head coach is already underway." The first question here that we all have to ask, guys, is, Subes, why now?
Why not? I mean, they've been dreadful to watch. 1 win in the last 16. I was at that match. I told my daughter tonight that Jaap got fired, and she's like, "Why did he get fired?" I was like, "Because they won 1 game in the last 16 matches." And she looked at me and she said, "Hey, we were at that match. All right." So, yeah, I mean, the watching this team play it's not fun, not exciting, and yeah, he's not going to be around next year. And so for me, yeah, it was probably long overdue personally. That's just my 2 cents. So yeah, why now? Because it should have been done a while ago.
Brad, what did you see on the field? I mean, do you think that there were locker room issues going on? Do you think that some lost the proverbial team, as they say, or do you think it was just it became evident because of the results?
You know, that's a good question. I think it's a multitude of things, but I think a good friend sent this to me today. Something is fundamentally broken right now at FC Cincinnati.
Has been.
Yeah, it's been the front office. It's been the on-field performance. It's been upset players. I mean, this isn't the first rodeo where we've heard, like David Goss said today on MLS Extra Time, there's locker room issues. Well, you know, that could be a reason. Could be a new general manager coming in, but something was not working, and it hasn't been working for FC Cincinnati for the last 3 years. So until they figure out what that problem is, I think we're going to continue to have, you know, issues going forward, and you won't see that full just that next level FC Cincinnati is hoping to reach.
And then you have the issue with substitutions, maybe some players that we haven't been getting to see that we might want to. Jeff, what do you think about the prospects of maybe getting some new blood out there on the field?
I think getting new blood out in the field was not going to help Stom in any way. I think he's been set in terms of who he likes to play. You know, we see that he puts a field out there and he refuses to substitute at the right time. Even the past game, when it was 3-0, you sort of felt, well, he's got to put something out there in halftime and maybe see who can come out and who can get in and maybe save a little bit of this team. He had nobody out there until, what was it, the 60th minute when Calvin Harris came in for Zico. His substitutes, his patterns have been maddening. And I think, especially in the New York City game, we finally saw the frustrations bubble over into actual physical combat out in the field.
Yes, we did. And there's the prospect of they're going through a GM search right now, and you know a GM is going to want to hire a new coach, Brad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's take a look at where FC Cincinnati is right now. You know, they're fighting for that wooden spoon. Front office is a mess. Why make this move? And I do think this general manager search has to have something to do with that. You know, Taylor Tolman today on Twitter wrote that FC Cincinnati, he was hinting that they offered a job to a candidate on Friday. And then he was kind of saying something along the lines of, you know, maybe make sure they commit to that general manager. And I think if you're Jeff Berding and you're the FC Cincinnati front office right now, and you want to bring in a new GM, maybe FC Cincinnati has their person. And, you know, we've heard that they might be there. But do you really want that person's first order of business? If they don't like Jaap Stam or they don't like him as a coach, they don't see the benefit. Do you really want that first move to be firing a new coach? So I can see why maybe it happened now. That's just a theory, you know, with this new general manager, search ongoing, probably hopefully getting close to its end. I could see why they made that move, and, you know, maybe why you won't want to tarnish the new general manager that is one of their first moves. So I completely get that.
Although from the reaction on Twitter, it could have been like, hey, you could come in and fire Jaap Stam and be a hero right away. I mean, Subs, when we look at where this club has been over the past few years, and you said it when you said, why not? I mean, does this surprise you that it happened after all of the calls for Stam out game after game from, you know, last season, much less the beginning of this season, much less the midway point after that Columbus match where they ended up tying at home, even though they were up a man? Were you surprised they made that decision now?
I guess I'm not surprised at the timing of the decision. I guess I was more surprised that it happened today. Like I'm not surprised that he's out. I guess I was more kind of like, oh, whoa, okay, this is happening. That was more or less my reaction today when I saw the news at work. So, like I said, I think we all knew the writing was on the wall. His contract was up at the end of the year. They were going to be hiring a new general manager. Of course, the new general manager is going to want to bring in his own head coach. Clearly, he is not the guy. I mean, the record speaks for itself, guys. He is not a good enough head coach in Major League Soccer to continue in this position. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised one bit that the move was made today. I guess maybe I was just more surprised that it actually, maybe I don't know, Coach. Maybe I am kind of surprised that this did happen today, but it needed to be done because, again, you've got a lot of fans who are not happy. You got season ticket renewals happening right now. Let's not forget about that. You know, they want people in the seats next year, don't they? So you need something to change in order to continue FC Cincinnati fans to have interest in this club going forward. So yeah, it had to happen. I agree with Brian right there. Shocked that happened today, indifferent overall. Yes.
And shocked that you agreed with Brian. So there you go.
Brian and I agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brad.
I was just saying, the thing that I don't get in all this is that if we were that close to, if we, like Jaap Stam was on this close of an edge to being let go, why did we make signings that are quote unquote his guys of Tyler Blackett and Kyle Scott? Like, why? I mentioned this a couple weeks ago on the main show. I think I said something along the lines like, why did we just take up a TAM spot and an international spot in Blackett and a senior spot? Those two and are now gone. Our new general manager can't take those. Like, I just question some of the moves that have happened. Like, why now for Jaap Stam? Why these moves? A lot of this stuff's just not adding up right now. Like, they say Hunter Freeman's in control, and I just don't quite understand what the heck is going on at FC Cincinnati. Who's making these decisions? Long term, short term, I guess I'm still kind of confused on what's going on right now. Like, yes, Jaap Stam had to go, but like, why today? Even though I mentioned earlier with the new general manager and all that stuff, that's just speculation. I'm still kind of worried about what the heck's going on.
What say you, Jeffrey Tevitz? Were you surprised that this happened now, that this happened today? I mean, we've seen a little bit of unrest in terms of some post-game interviews and things. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's that meme with was it the guy from I forget the show, Futurama, where he's like, I'm shocked. Well, I'm not that shocked.
Kind of how
really,
I feel.
really, it's one of those things where we've seen the bizarre happen. We've seen uncalculated risks being taken, and it's happened so many times that even now we're desensitized to it. I'm not shocked that he was fired on a Monday after a game where we were down 4-0 and had no chance in it. I'm not shocked because that's how we've fired people in the past. We let go of Alan Koch after games of futility. Frankly, we just have not looked good. The only games that we've won, we won against Toronto, but the win before that was against Toronto. The only other thing I can think of is that maybe they're firing him now so they can get that bounce and beat Toronto on Wednesday.
Can't get those. So I want to ask you a question, Coach. Take over your host chair for a second here. They let go Johan Deme and Saad Bakati, along with Jaap Stam. Why do you think they did that? We've all kind of viewed Johan, who they've made the interim twice. We were kind of thinking it would be a third time. Now, Tyrone Marshall, he's got a way better resume than Johan Deme. I mean, he really does. No questions asked. 5 years as a MLS assistant coach. He's highly thought of across the entire league. Why do you think that they got rid of all three of those guys, and then you hear rumblings about locker room discontent?
Personally, when I see a guy like Johan Deme, I like the guy. I like what he says about soccer. I like his background in terms of the analytical way he views games and game film. I think, though, that this was the right decision 100%. If you're going to fire the head coach, I think you clean house, because you cannot have guys in the locker room, whether the locker room has unrest or not, that might be subverting the power of the next head coach. And here's what I mean by that. If you are a guy who is a rookie and you have a problem, who are you going to go to with that problem? Your brand new head coach who maybe intimidates you a little bit? Or are you going to go to Johan Deme, who's been the assistant coach for a few years and who has always kind of been chummy with you because of that role, and he doesn't have to be the one, punishing you or sitting you on the bench or not naming you in the 18, right? So that subverts the power of the head coach. Any GM that you hire has got to be given the ability to make the team his. Any coach that GM hires has got to be given the idea to make the team his, and that starts with his staff. So I think that's why you have to do it. Now, in terms of Blackett, Kyle Scott, I'm with you there, Brad. I don't understand why that happens, other than personally, I think they're both good players, especially Kyle Scott. I'm really high on him and his potential, but I don't know that anybody in the FC Cincinnati organization knows that because we've seen their track record so far. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but I do know this. I know that there are some new candidates for head coach that we've seen come out on Twitter. Some people, that's what you call professional segue, folks. And let's talk about some of those. So there's some domestic candidates, right? And guys, just jump in and talk about any of these as I go through these.
Sure.
Just interrupt me. We have Landon Donovan from the San Diego Loyal. He's doing well.
Let's start there first.
Yeah.
Because I came up with this list. I'm sorry, guys. I came up with this list with Brian. So first candidate. Okay, if we can pick out 4 or 5 candidates. Let's start with Landon Donovan, guys. What do you think Landon Donovan could bring to FC Cincinnati?
John Harkes 2.0.
Okay.
That's all it is.
I like his attitude in terms of how he and his team form a bond. I mean, say what you want. I don't know anything about his tactics. I haven't caught a lot of San Diego Loyal games. And I totally get the idea of hiring a coach that was just some former great player like a John Harkes is always tenuous. But what he has been in the news for, and that idea that he backs his players to the point of walking them off the field when a playoff spot is in the line, I do like that. So there's something to be said.
No, not for me. Sorry. This coach needs to have legitimate Major League Soccer experience. If not as a head coach, multiple years as an assistant coach, high-level assistant coach in this league. Yeah, Landon Donovan might be one of the next great coaches, but he has not done jack in Major League Soccer from a coaching standpoint. Great player on the field, but right. No thank you.
So let's say FC Cincinnati brings in a domestic, non-general manager. So they haven't been a general manager before. They don't have large international contacts, presumably. Don't you think that could maybe be a draw? And then what maybe if you partner him with, like, say, an experienced MLS former head coach or vet like Gary Smith Roll, who is cool being an assistant coach now.
I think you're onto something there, Brad.
I think the biggest thing we've seen with FC Cincinnati over 3 seasons is a general lack of MLS experience. And I'm talking from general manager, president, assistant coaches, head coaches,
ownership,
scouting staff, everybody. So while, there's a good chance we're going to see a coach who doesn't have MLS head coaching experience. So what we need to do, in my mind, and why I think Landon could actually be a cool option, you get Landon, you partner him with an experienced guy, and somebody who's going to give you maybe, I've seen how Peter Vermees knows how to play, and maybe this is how you could attack Peter Vermees, or this is a tendency of Greg Vanny out in LA, and this is how we could attack him. Just a thought how we could make him interesting.
How are the Loyal doing in USL? Just curious.
They're second in their division,
Western
and
Conference?
they're gonna make the playoffs.
I mean, they've turned their season around compared to what they were last year. Granted, everything last year was pandemic stricken, so really anything that was on the board has a big asterisk next to it. But San Diego has turned things around. They're looking good. They're in the same division that you have Phoenix Rising, who is a powerhouse. At the same division as the Orange County, who has done really well. And then you get teams like LA Galaxy 2 and Tacoma Defiance. Granted, they haven't been good in the past, but that's still MLS caliber players that are in there. So he's in arguably one of the more competitive divisions in the USL Championship. Granted, I don't think that that's justifying him to be ready for MLS. I think he's probably good for connecting to players, but I don't think he's got the strategy just yet.
I'm going to end this conversation right here, right now. What happened the last time we hired a USL head coach to become the Major League Soccer head coach?
I don't recall. I don't think that ever happened.
So no,
just like the Spurs don't exist.
No, not happening. No, thank you. Landon, great, but nope. I say we move on because there's zero chance.
All right. So if that's the hire, Donovan.
If that's the hire, that might be even more dumb than hiring Yapstam.
I'll no to Landon Donovan.
I'm not going to, by the way, just so I can say this, I'm not the host anymore. I'm here to help out tonight. I'm not going to have a filter. So no way, zero. No to Landon Donovan.
I'm
Okay.
also going to say no, just because I think Donovan wants a bigger role in a bigger team than us.
Was Kevin Wallace in the chat on YouTube says Koch was an MLS assistant. I don't believe he was. I think he was just with the Whitecaps too.
Well, he did. I think he was the MLS assistant a little bit before Whitecaps too, but it wasn't very long.
No, thank you.
And let's not get bogged down talking about Whitecaps.
Yeah.
Too. A couple things.
Yeah.
First, Subs. Nobody knows how to bleep things out since you left, so you have to have a little bit of a
Please, I don't know how to do that. I'm editing this show tonight. I don't know how to do it unless you want me to send it.
I'm not going to cuss. I have
So Landon
self-control.
Donovan. Landon Donovan's out. CST has spoken, and everybody from Extra Time to Jeff Birding listens to this show, guys. So we know no Landon Donovan. What about Philadelphia Union assistant Pat Noonan? He has MLS and U.S. men's national team playing, and he has assistant coaching experience. And it might make some sense if maybe FCC went with Union technical director Chris Albright as the new GM. What say you, Subs, to Pat Noonan?
Sure. Don't know enough. I mean, great. He's coming from the Union, who has historically over the last 5 or 6 years done really well with their youth, bringing up, they have some success with their academy program, their USL 2 team. The Bethlehem Steel were great for a little while there. So they have a history of bringing up younger talent, developing them, and then moving them on successfully. So there's that aspect of it. And over the last 4 or 5 years, you can say that the Union have been one of the better sides in the Eastern Conference. So, sure, I would take that over Landon Donovan any day of the week.
Brad, what's a Noonan or a Noonan Albright
He's
tandem?
so fired up about Landon Donovan right now. Well, first of all,
We shouldn't have let off with him.
right. The rumor is Chris Albright is interviewed for the job. So they're assuming he's probably one of the finalists. I think it's probably a package deal. Again, I do think there's some risks there. You got a first-time GM and a first-time head coach.
Right.
Okay. Big risk. I do like the Chris Albright move. But, again, I think out of those two individuals, there's not much of a draw for international players. So why are they going to want to come to Cincinnati? And I think that's a valid question. I really, again, would like, I wouldn't mind Noonan again if he's partnered up with an experienced head coach. Why? No, both. Well, one or the at least an assistant head coach. Okay, so let's think about the Rams. Okay, the NFL football team Rams. Okay, when they won the Super Bowl, who was their defensive coordinator? Was it? Oh golly, I just had his name a second ago. Wade Phillips, right? Wasn't it Wade Phillips?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, it was Wade Phillips.
But he was an assistant
Super
to
Bowl, you mean?
everybody.
Are they in USL or USL 2?
Doesn't matter. The point being, give me an experienced head coach or assistant coach, partner up with Noonan, and I'm actually all right with it. He's worked for the Galaxy and U.S. men's national team under Bruce Arena, who, guess what? Even though people might not like him, he's killing the league right now. He's awesome. He's one of the best head coaches in MLS history. I think that's definitely an interesting proposal. I'm not saying it's option one, but if that's option two for FC Cincinnati, that partnership, I think that's actually a pretty nice roll of the dice.
Fair enough. Does Pat Noonan or that sort of a profile do anything for you, Jeff?
It moves my needle a little bit because he used to play for the Revolution, for one thing.
There it comes.
But also, I mean, the whole attachment to Bruce Arena. Not only was he an assistant with him for LA Galaxy squad, but also when Bruce went to the U.S. national team, he brought all of his assistants with him. And so he's got experience being an assistant coach at a higher level, at a country level. So he's got, he might not have the pedigree to have coached an MLS game, but he has pedigree working under people who know what they're doing. And that includes Jim Curtin. So I'm okay if you had to flip a coin and he's on one side and Donovan's on the other, I would load the coin so that we're getting Pat Noonan all the time.
So what about, you want MLS experience, Subs? What about a guy like Dom Kinnear? He's currently without a job, so that doesn't say a lot, but apparently he was a finalist when the team hired Japs Dom.
Here's what I'll say about Dom Kinnear, right? he's had success in Major League Soccer. Now I know this was MLS 1.5, maybe MLS 2.0. Had the big back when we had the big expansion within the league. Won a couple of titles, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. I thought it was with the San Jose Earthquakes and Houston Dynamo before they moved. So, and he won them with Chris Wondolowski, if I'm not mistaken, too. So, has history in the league, winning championships. Now I know this is back when Major League Soccer had 12 teams in it, but still, he has history and has had success in Major League Soccer as a head coach in this league. So, for me, I would be okay with that hire as well. I was actually okay with it last time he interviewed, but they went a different way.
I think
Brad, Jeff, go ahead, Brad.
I think if Dom Kinnear was the head coach of FC Cincinnati right now, they would at least be punching along the playoff line, because I think he would be much more proactive. He knows, like I said before, like we're talking about who would be a great assistant coach alongside two of those younger guys. It would be Dom Kinnear. It would be. You got to know these tendencies. Like Gary Smith is killing it in Nashville. He knows a lot of these coaches' tendencies. He knows what it's like to be in the league. This
also
is
kind of an afterthought when he was hired, because we were like, oh, this guy was boring. Yeah.
Very much along that same train of thought. I don't know if he'd reach the highs we could reach. You never know till he gets into it. But I think that I do think that it is an interesting name to keep your eyes on. And it was apparently, the general manager wanted Stom. Other people wanted Kinnear when it came down to the last time, and Stom won. So we'll see.
Jeff, you have any comments on Kinnear before we move on to the next candidate?
Damn it! That you stole my idea that he could come in as an assistant coach to either Donovan or a Noonan. Damn it, that was my idea. I'll just leave it at that. If they bring him in, I could see him being an interim manager in the future. That's all I can say.
Brutal.
Okay, this from
good at
the
this interim
Revolution
thing, right?
fan, guys. Remember, the Revolution fan has spoken. So, what about? And I'm gonna pause for dramatic effect here. Bob Bradley, whose contract runs out this season, could maybe be a dual coach GM role, sort of like they have in New England, Bruce Arena. Jeff, Bob Bradley?
I have a feeling he's already said no. That's just me. I mean, if he was a nominee or somebody that they saw as a future coach / GM / both, then they wouldn't have fired Stom right now. I felt they would have stuck out Stom till the end of his contract. And then when all the pieces are moving, then they bring in the hammer when they see Bradley being let go. I don't see Bradley wanting to also be part of this if he's got the front office to work under. It's going to be tough to tell someone like Birding, say, hey, let me handle it. I can take care of everything. And I don't think he wants that drama.
But Clifford Adams brings up the most important point in the chat. He meets the bald quota, and that is so important with this squad. So, Bradley, you're heading your way towards meeting the bald quota. What do you think?
Dang, are you serious right now?
Bro. Dude, it's looking thick back there. Come on. Wow. Jeez, how do I even rebound from that, Nicholas Suberling?
That's wild.
Wow.
I would never do that to you.
Holy cow, you are gone. He's gone. I think this, mentioned option, if we fallback option would be Pat Noonan. I think option one is Bob Bradley, but I don't think we would know till the end of the season. I doubt LAFC would even give us permission to talk to him. If I was LAFC, I wouldn't want a distracted head coach. But I think that's option one. MLS Extra Time Radio was talking about it today. Sam Shaskel talked about it today. But if you're Bob Bradley and you want to create an awesome MLS legacy, he's passionate. Guy was an EPL manager, I'll bet, for a little bit. He wants to have a massive legacy in this league, and that's how you do it. You go the Vermeer style, you go the Bruce Arena style. You're the GM, you're the head coach. You take care of it all, and then you know what? You do it for a couple of years, and you hand the reins off to Michael Bradley as head coach. Now, I'm kidding a little bit, but option one for me. I think Jeff Birding needs to do everything he can do to lock that down. I kind of agree with Jeff that it probably is not going to happen. I think Jaap Stam would have made it this whole year if that was the route we were going to go. So I think that ship might have sailed, but golly, Brian Weigel just said he'll shave his head if we hire Bradley. So you know what? It's out there in the Twitterverse, the internet now, Brian. You can't hide it. And you know what? Please, God, now let it be Bob Bradley.
Brian,
can I just
loves
say
the name
this?
Bradley.
That's true.
Go ahead, Zubes.
You mentioned that if you think it's Bob Bradley, that they wouldn't have pulled the trigger on Jaap Stam. I disagree with that statement. I think the club right now wants to do whatever they can to not win a third consecutive wooden spoon. You got to right the ship. You cannot have 3 years in a row of this losing. You cannot. I mean, it's never been done in Major League Soccer history. Never. So you got to do what you can to not be that first team. It's bad enough that the team already is hard to watch. To have 3 wooden spoons in a row. I mean, they're going to call it the FC Cincinnati Award. They might name it after Jaap Stam. I mean, there's no way. So yeah, you got to make the change regardless of now. I don't think it'll be Bob Bradley, but I'm with Brad. I think that's option one if you can make it happen. I also have a hunch based on my conversations with LAFC fans. They're not exactly enamored with him at the moment either. I think they're also ready to move on too. So we'll see what happens. I don't think it'll happen, but I would do it in a heartbeat. I would roll out the red carpet for him, and I would say, "Here's the checkbook. What do you want, Bob?"
This situation reminds me of a couple of years ago when the Sporting KC fans wanted to get rid of Peter Vermeer. Just
Vermees.
Vermees. What the hell did I just say?
Vermeer.
It's okay.
Holy
Because
crap!
Vermeer is in your head right now.
Peter Vermees. Sorry, guys. I
will say, I've been out there vocally on Talking Tactics saying, or maybe on Slack, I don't know, everywhere that people listen to me, which is not many places, that I'm not saying I wouldn't hire Bob Bradley, but I will tell you, I think Bob Bradley has underperformed more at LAFC this year than Jaap Stam did with FC Cincinnati. I'm not saying he's a worse coach than Jaap Stam. Not saying I wouldn't hire him. I'm just talking about expectations versus performance. Anyway, after I leave that there, I'm going to move us on. So there's not really international candidates to talk about because we don't know who's available. Everybody's got teams.
Antonio
I want
Conte.
to play.
Shut up.
Pochettino. I hear Pochettino might be
No,
coming.
he's got a
since they're
job.
not happy.
Antonio Conte does not have a job.
Yeah, she's not happy with him, and I hear it's a messy Pochettino package deal to Cincinnati, right? Anyways, here's a game I want to play. It's not on the rundown, so we're going to go by the seat of our pants here. I want each of you to give one quality that you demand in the next head coach, and you can't take the one that's already been taken. Okay, so I am going to start with Jeff. Give me a quality that you demand in the next head coach. You can't take one that's already been said. That means you can say anything.
I want to
all right,
coach.
bald is mine. You can't take that.
I want a coach that can control the team. I want a coach that has a bond with the team, not in the sense that, he tries to fake bond. I want a coach that can look at a player and say, I know exactly what you want out of this team and out of your career. I can get you to that next level. I want a bond between the coach and the team.
Okay. I'm going to go to Brad.
Sure. Well, first of all, to our listeners, if you're in the chat room there, make sure you put out what your quality is. I am going to say a manager who is tactically astute, but what I'm meaning is in the way how they communicate it to the players. I feel through 6 seasons, our team has played without a specific style, or if they've had a style, it's been very loosely formed. And I want our style to be drilled into the players. They know exactly where they need to be at the exact same time. And their players know, you know what? Coach is going to be on the left wing at this point. I'm going to hit this pass, boom. Then it's going to go to Subs, who's up top, and he's going to hold it up, and he's going to drop it off to Jeff, who's going to kick it in the goal. Like
Subs in the GB role, huh?
Yeah. I think he played keeper, didn't he? Oh.
No, I was center mid. I was
Were you?
6. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? I was starting
in
back.
my heyday. I was an 8.
So
box to box, baby.
Speaking of heyday, Subs, what's your quality? So just if you're keeping track at home, we need a guy, a coach who is, I'm not going to say a player's coach, but has a bond with the players. They want to run through a brick wall for him. We want a guy that has tactically astute and the ability to communicate to that player, so our team can be described as, quote, well drilled, like a team that you know is organized. Subs, what's the last quote, and then let's go make a hire.
I got one word: attack. Attack, attack, attack. I want to see some goddamn goals. I want goals. That's all I want. Goals. Please find me an offensive coach who knows what he's doing, who can get the best out of Luciano Acosta, can get the best out of Brenner, Barrial, Atanga. We need goals. That's all I'm going to say. Attack.
Okay, well, the coach that they do have right now, the interim head coach, Marshall, what do we expect out of him? I mean, he's coming up from the U19 ranks, so maybe some more opportunities for the young guys, like maybe even like Akimi Ordonez, but certainly you would imagine for Calvin Harris and Zico Bailey, maybe an appearance for Ben Lunt or two. Brad, what do you expect that we're going to see out of Marshall?
I think we've got an MLS vet who has been highly thought of. Was it Freddie Juarez? He worked under Freddie Juarez at RSL for a while, and Freddie Juarez couldn't say enough great things about Tyrone. I think we're going to get a guy who's going to like what I just said. He's going to actively communicate to the players what he wants them to do. Now, he's not going to shape a whole offense. He's not going to tell them to go crazy. But, I think, was it Connor Casey took over at Colorado when they were really struggling? I think it's going to be very similar. He's going to be, he's just going to be very intelligent about how he's going to do things. He's going to tell the guys, this is just what I need you to do. Just do that for me. He's going to settle the team down. They're going to start to be more organized. I think he's going to probably take some pressure off the players, and he's just going to know the league better. It's not going to be Jaap Stam, who I don't think was actively communicating to players. We heard today that the team didn't understand any of the drills that he was doing in practice. I just think he's going to settle. He's going to bring the common sense back to the club. And I think actually it's going to help the team. It's going to simplify things out. And I do think actually, he mentioned today in his little 2-minute video, he's like, there's no reason why we can't win all 6 games at home. Well, I'm not going to put that expectation on him, but just him saying that, I just think he understands the league a lot better. I think he's he's capable, he's in good hands, and I think it's, I don't think it's outrageous to think he can get, 2 or 3 more wins before the end of the year.
Jeff, are there players that you're hoping that we see Tyrone Marshall get onto the field a little more?
It's hard to say. I mean, we've had so many, I think people have gone down on injuries and people that we've already, we've already passed on, and we can't really bring them back. But, considering that we have gotten Kyle Scott, we have gotten, a few youngsters that want to play on the squad. Maybe we start to see what happens when he just says, go out there and play. And maybe if the players respond to an assistant coach who hasn't got MLS coaching experience as a head coach, maybe we see a preview of what happens when you do hire a Pat Noonan or Landon Donovan. Maybe you see players awaken a little bit now that they've got somebody who they can identify with.
Subs, I want to hear from you. Are there players that we as fans have already assigned to the scrap heap, but maybe are on a high dollar? Some people say a Cruz should be on the way out the door. Some people say a guy like Kamahela Makocho. Are there guys like that you think will give a new life that you think could play their way back into your heart as an FC Cincinnati fan?
No. I've kind of moved on. I kind of want to answer Jeff's question, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I want to see Ben Lunt play. I want to see Ben Lunt play. Like, is he a Major League Soccer goalkeeper or not? What are we waiting for? Throw him out there and let's see what we've got. Either he's a Major League Soccer goalkeeper or he's not. So let's find out what the kid's got. I'm tired of seeing the Vermeer experiment. And now that Jaap's gone, maybe we won't see him in goal anymore. TT, okay, yes, he's a solid shot stopper, but again, I know what we have in TT. I don't know what we have in Ben Lunt. So for me, I want to see him playing Major League Soccer, getting minutes with the first team to see if he's capable of being a goalkeeper for this club going forward. Because if he's not, then what are we doing? So that's I'm going there for that question. As far as some guys that are on I don't know. I don't think we will see an improvement with the coaching change for a guy like Makocho. Cruz, again, I think he is what he is. So I don't know if there's any players that were brought in that had some high expectations that didn't really succeed. I don't know if we'll see a bump there with the new head coach personally.
Very interesting thoughts. For my thoughts, guys, I'm going to do some shameless promoting here and say you can go download Talking Tactics with Coach Goff, because Justin Hoyt and I talked through this extensively in that show. You know what we're never disappointed in here is the supporters, all of you guys listening and tuning in. Our show is by and large supported by the fans. We love SwearoX, and we love the sponsors that we get, but the legwork is done by all of you. And unfortunately, when somebody who just has all of opinions all of a sudden decided to leave the official role in CST, he took his Patreon with him. I'm not going to mention
it's not my
any
Patreon.
names.
I took my PayPal. Let's get it right, buddy.
All right. Anyways, we're looking for all of you to step back up and to help us out here. We want to give you the best bang for your buck. So yes, he is free, and it's always going to be free as long as I have anything to do with it, because it is for you, the fans. And we appreciate all of those of you that give to make it so we can keep it free. And we do want to give a special shout out to those that have already signed up: Reilly, John Davidson, Mike Hudson, Matthew Long, Robert Stevens, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Buddy Taylor, Riley Stephen Burke, James Bowe, Tom Niehaus, Brian Weigel, Brian Giles, Dan Albers, Will Kieltick, Ian Rexroad, Augustin Caceres Kuceris. Oh, that's a phonetic spelling there. Kuceris, Augustin Kuceris, Bill Antonitis, Carl Fight, Jeremy Schrand, Kyle Pohl, Christina Sharma, Rupesh, Tom Beversdorf, Jason, who is super average, John Haskell, and Ryan Ernest. Guys, that is a great list. We are so grateful to you. Head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support or to Patreon and search for us so you can join that list of amazing people. Guys, now to what everybody... Go ahead. What, Brad?
I was going to say, sorry, we have to put the phonetic spelling in there for Boston when he's in the host chair.
Yeah.
So sorry. So I just copied and pasted that from one run down to the other. So I apologize for that.
That's all right.
And we're big fans of Augustin's, right, Brad? Isn't he a big supporter of what we're doing?
100%. He's wonderful. I love all the support, and we couldn't do it without everybody, and just awesome.
I have bad flashbacks to that test where you take the whole test and the teacher tells you to read all the directions beforehand, and the last direction says don't do anything on the test and turn it in, because I did not read the rundown thoroughly, clearly. But guys, it is important we get to this segment, because this is why everybody is here. Who cares about the head coach? Let's talk 4-2 loss to DC United. We have another hour to talk about this. I was thinking that maybe some people would want to talk about some refereeing issues. I know that there have been a lot of FC Cincinnati fans that have been up in arms about a lot of refereeing decisions. But we have had a wardrobe change and a hat donned by Jeff Tebbets. So I'm thinking that Jeff has something to say about DC United and maybe refereeing. Jeff, what do you got?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are going to look at that offsides call for the fourth goal and say, well, if he was flagged as offsides and he fired it in, why does that count? But the offsides on Barreal against New York City, why does that not count? And all I can say at this, you play to the whistle. Yeah, the flag went up, but the head ref, as far as I know, did not blow the whistle. They're supposed to let the play go. And so it's on the players who slow down and let the fourth goal get in. You play until you hear a whistle, and you don't pay attention to that flag. And yeah, it was a bad call, but you have to move on with it. Life isn't fair, and unfortunately, life has not been fair for us the past few games.
Life is not fair. Like when you get called for multiple offside in the same call, and it becomes offsides because of the multiple offsides. That is very unfair.
From Boston,
this is not a pet peeve of mine at all. I don't care at all when people say offsides, but somebody brought it up in the chat, so I had to do it as host.
Yeah, it's Jamie, the resident Brit.
When you're from Boston, you can add S's to anything.
Yeah, but I do want to say really quickly that Augustin is how you pronounce that first name, and Mike Ock apparently is supporting too. So now I've done all the hosting. Was I not supposed to say that? Okay. Apparently I've stepped in it. Moving on. What we're going to do now is I'm going to tell you about why the fourth goal counted. Okay, fourth goal shenanigans. It is all about how you play to the whistle. I spoke to my friend who is actually a high-level USL referee, getting in his minutes to referee in the MLS. In MLS, everybody else is just laughing. I'm just going to keep talking until they can talk again. And what I'm going to say is that it is all down to the referee's whistle. And it is so unfortunate that AR did make a mistake by raising his flag. He is supposed to leave it down until the play finishes and then raise it if he thinks it was offside. That way it can go to VAR to review. He put it up early. Jeff Cameron slowed down. I think Teton pulled a little bit up. There was a goal scored, so it was a mistake by the official, but it's sort of like if the ball or if an official makes a mistake to award a penalty and you get the penalty kick scored on you, you can't go and take it back. So once that referee has not blown his whistle and that ball has gone in, he has to award the goal. So I believe that Bradley Weigel has caught his breath. Refereeing issues, Brad.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I still don't know what I did.
I'm sorry. That's so
read it slower.
No. This is a family-friendly show.
Oh my god!
I think Jeff
Jeff,
took
you're
his
my
earbuds
favorite
out.
now.
He didn't
Jeff
hear
is
it.
not laughing.
I don't think
He
Jeff took
doesn't
his
get it.
earbuds out for a second because I made fun of him. He didn't hear it.
I didn't want to hear it.
My God.
He made fun of my he made fun of my blazer turtleneck combination episodes ago, so I'm not surprised.
Oh my God. Okay. So,
I haven't laughed like that in a really long
Oh,
time when it
man.
comes to FCC, Coach. So thank you very much. I need
I mean, you're turning as red as you're turning as bright as the orange stripe on
Dude.
your uniform there.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry what's gonna happen to you for the next 24 hours, Coach.
Oh, I'm not. I had to host this show. I deserve all the punishment that I get.
Yes.
Oh,
So that was amazing. When you're a bad team, you don't get the good calls. That's pretty much, if I can bring this back to soccer. When you're a bad team, you don't get those calls. I think it was terrible. Both, like the first goal, is so debatable in an age of VAR. I mean, I've seen
the first goal.
I can get past that fourth goal. I can't get past. The official rose. He put his flag in the air. I don't care about the damn whistle. The guy put his flag in the air. 7 to 8 players on both sides of the ball stopped, and the only guy who scored was the jerk. Like most people, like they kicked the ball in the goal. It's not good. Like people boo that person or whatnot. But that guy kicked it in the goal, and then the ref goes, "Oh, goal!" Like he did a poor job of refereeing that. He should see 7 to 8 players stop, blow the whistle. I mean, right now they teach you if it only do offside if it's obvious. Now, I think it wasn't obvious, so if he wanted to do correctly, he should probably cut the play down, and then I think all the players continue to play, and I don't think the goal happens. But you know what? Guy put his flag in the air, 7 to 8 players stopped. One guy kept going, scored a goal. So I do understand what Jaap Stam and the coaching staff were complaining about, and I do think they deservedly feel hard done.
The fact that if you went on to Twitter and Bakati, his complaint was the first goal more than the fourth goal. If they really were irate about the fourth goal, I think they would have brought that up on Twitter as well.
Yeah. I will say, as my internet connection goes unstable from all the laughing, that as a coach, I not only tell my players the age-old thing to play to the whistle, but in addition, I would say, even if the whistle blows, if that player is about to take a shot, you protect your goalkeeper and you go in with a full-throated challenge, even if the whistle's already blown. So you play past the whistle. I say if the ball is out and you think it's close, even if the whistle's blown, you keep playing, because it sets a tone. It sets that idea that you're going to keep going and you're going to have that effort. And I think effort and intensity is something that this team has lacked a lot of overall. And that was totally a give up goal, whether the official racist flag or not. Jeff Cameron pulling up, Teton pulling up, that was totally like a lackadaisical give up goal, and it's unacceptable from professionals. So guys, we had a lot going on. We had some head coaching candidates named. We had some poor phone crank call names spewed about here. And now we get to talk about the Woodspoon and battle for it. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, because I'm out here. And here is the question. Will the team be full strength, or will the one and only Jeff Cameron still be at home? What do you guys think?
This game's in
Good
Toronto.
question.
This game's in Toronto.
In Toronto.
I'm gonna
We
guess
saw
he's
that he
not
didn't
going.
travel last game because he didn't get vaccinated. So here's the question. Who do you start? And do you think that they have a chance to avoid this wooden spoon if they don't have Jeff Cameron in this match? Jeff, you think that the team can win without Jeff Cameron?
I think they can. Well, even without Jeff Cameron, when they went up to Montreal, it was a 5-4 loss. They were in the lead twice. I think they can win a game without Cameron. They can't, but they have to have everybody believing the system that they're playing with. That I believe in the new coach bounce, as interim as it may be. I believe that Toronto is still not that great of a team. But I also believe that traveling, and playing at home in front of your crowd gets a charge into you. And so it's going to be tough to face a Toronto team that has a lot to prove.
Brad, what about Tyler Blackett? Can he step in and seamlessly replace the presumably out? We're not saying for sure. We don't know. Jeff Cameron, maybe along Gustavo Vallecilla, or will we see the new center back signing that hasn't been reported yet? I'm reading it's IP Daily.
Good comeback. That's a good one.
I thought it was
yeah.
Freely.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't know if Cameron's gonna make it or not. I don't know that answer. I'm assuming my twin brother probably put that in to trip us up because he likes to do that sick sort of thing. I don't really know. I think Tyler Blackett might be a good option to come in. It's a midweek game. I don't think Jeff Cameron's probably going to play midweek games anyway. We do have a congested schedule coming up. I think FC Cincinnati still has 9 more matches left in the season before November 7th might be the last game if it serves me correctly. So honestly, 9 games in a little over a stretch of a month. Congested schedule. So I don't think he would play either way. Tyler Blackett probably in, Vicey and or Haglund. Maybe we drop into that back 4. We'll see.
If Haglund has to play center back, who's going to play right back? Don't answer that question. Here's what I want to know, Brad. Are you guys doing a march to match day for the wooden spoon, the battle for the wooden spoon?
Not for the wooden spoon, but we should be doing one for the Frankie Amaya Derby.
Well, then let's get some predictions for the wooden spoon. I'm going to come to you first, Subs. Predict that score Wednesday in Toronto, FC Cincinnati, Toronto. Who comes out on top?
So correct me if I'm wrong, but this year we are unbeaten against Toronto.
Correct.
I believe we've beaten them twice. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. And I know Toronto is worse than we are, but no Cameron. I'm guessing no Cameron. That's a pretty big assumption there. So I will say the orange and blue fall to Toronto FC 3-1.
Jeff?
First of all, I do want to correct Subs when he said that we should rename it the Yopstom Wooden Spoon. It will always be the Anthony Precourt Wooden Spoon, and you know that.
Oh, fair enough. Good point.
I still believe in the bounce. We've seen it. We've seen it in Toronto. I think they actually won their first game after they had their interim manager put into place. So I believe in it, and I think it can happen. But I just don't see it being a win. I'm going to say it's going to be I'll say a 2-2 draw.
Can I respond to David here in the chat room? David Moore, he says Toronto worse is debatable. They lost to FC Cincinnati twice this year.
They beat
FC Cincinnati are not great. So Toronto's worse. I mean, they're lower in the table. So it's not debatable. The table does not lie.
Toronto beat the Revolution.
So
Soups,
They're
thank you
still
for
below us
asking
in
my
the table.
permission and then not waiting for the answer. I appreciate that. Brad, what's your prediction for the match? We have a loss and we have a draw. Do you want to balance things out, or do you want to throw your lot in with Subs or Jeff?
Yeah, I think Jeff's right. I think it's gonna be something like 0-0. Or like yeah, I think it's gonna be 0-0. Was it in that video today? Marshall said you just need to get a result. So to me, it sounds like they're gonna come out uber conservative, not give much away.
6 at the back.
Toronto sucks. They're real bad. They're old. They're disjointed. Justin Morrow just retired, I think last week or something. They're just not good. As long as was it Tasha Akindele or not? No, what the heck? No, who's that? Who's the guy who always kills us from them? He's like a USL player.
Tsubasa
Endo.
Tsubasa Endo. As long as he doesn't play, we're good.
He played in Cincinnati.
He played in the last game and had a shot that TT smothered pretty good.
Okay.
I still remember that hat trick in USL, man. That was crazy.
Brian
And then
predicts
Saturday.
a loss, but he says we don't have a chance if Cameron doesn't play. But new manager bounce. I think he's come out conservatively. We get was it Atanga and Barrial back? It's gonna be huge.
And then Saturday, we have the Frankie Amaya derby, big revenge game for the American. Here's my question to you. First one to answer wins the prize. Who is the first one to get a good tackle in, studs up on Frankie Amaya?
The
It's
bench.
easy. It's Kubo.
That's the correct answer, Subs. He won't even know that it's Frankie. He's just going to do it because
Frankie ain't gonna see the field.
I was about to say, I don't
Yeah,
even
you're
think he's
probably
going to. I'm going to go out.
Fleeced New York on that deal.
I am going to
Fleeced
go out on a limb, and I'm going to say he doesn't even dress.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but
I was talking to a Red Bull supporter today, and he was telling me how much of a raw deal the Red Bulls got out of that. He cannot believe the haul that FC Cincinnati got for this guy who barely plays. He was surprised. He was expecting a lot more.
yeah, I do.
So
think
were we.
I didn't think it would probably be Kubo because he's the only one who ever played with Frankie on the team right now.
What about the reaction to Gutman?
I don't care. I had no
we
ill will
cut
towards
Gutman, so
Yeah.
Right, but still, he did play pretty. He tried to play his best as a left back
I
replacement.
had no issues with
he's
Gutman.
I think he scored a goal or something last
Yeah.
week. He's not doing horrible.
Right, and so I'm wondering what the reaction would be to him.
Fine.
I think
Yeah, I
that
had no
Gutman
He
will
didn't-
be accepted
He
and
didn't
just as a player
force
to
his
move
way
on.
out of the team. Like
Yeah, there's no bad blood there.
yeah.
Another place there's no bad blood is between all the supporters and me, because I did a great job hosting tonight, guys. I didn't throw it at all to give us your feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. I didn't talk about following us on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk. I did get the support in there to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support, and obviously rate and review the show. I don't even know the URL for that because I only know /Coach Apple Podcast for the Talking Tactics show.
Should be just
But I
Apple
didn't do
Podcast.
any of that. And I would say that anyway, I can tell by all of your faces just smiling back at me in the camera. Oh, those are all just the Facebook avatars. Anyway, I can tell everybody was happy with my job here. But there is one last order of business that I have to get to, and that is final thoughts. And the best part about doing final thoughts is I get to just watch the faces as they panic because they didn't think about it. And they're like, don't call on me first. And then I get to say, Bradley Weigel, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, Coach, you didn't do too bad over there hosting. I have to say good job. But,
That's great final thoughts. Let's move on. Okay,
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of news. A lot of stuff's going to be coming on in the next couple weeks. But I'm just going to address the big elephant in the room. I think there's been a narrative in this town around and around this league that Jeff Birding, he's been a real problem behind this team. Love him or not, I think it's really been a brush that he's painted for himself. Now, I appreciate all Jeff's done. He's been great to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. He's come on the show tons of times and made players available. But I think this is really a big moment for this club. It's critical, not for just us fans, but for the team and ownership as well. And especially coming up with this general manager search and, hopefully bringing one to the conclusion here. I think that this is an opportunity for him to signal to the league and to everybody else that he's really out. Now he said he's out, but I mentioned tonight he signed players like Blackett and Kyle Scott that I just don't really agree with. And he had to sign off on those, even though he might chalk that up to Hunter Freeman. You know what? I do think that with this general manager move, it is critical that he gives this person leeway. Okay. Now he still needs to hold him accountable as the head of the organization, but he's got to give them leeway. Give that person a long-term deal and step away. Get people with MLS experience, give them the reins, and let them go. We have not had experience in this club with MLS. I said it earlier, and we wonder why we're consistently in the doldrums of MLS. I just think it's critical. Bring people in who know this league, who know the tendencies of other players and coaches, know the league personnel, and is critical to getting domestic players to come here. So I really think we need a full overhaul, and signaling that right off the bat, right at the top, helps get this this change started in the right direction. It helps change the perception of media, fans, other organizations, and just gets this organization going forward. I'm tired of being in last place. I'm tired of competing for the Anthony Precourt Award. Let's bring this club and let it reach its potential that it really desires. So that's my final thought. And go FCC.
Well done, sir, and well done as always. Thanks for doing it, Brad.
Hey, man. A plus minus one little. We'll give it an asterisk.
Final thoughts, Jeffrey Tebbets.
I'm going to look a little bit more into the future here. I think we've really flogged this dead horse to more death today, talking about the team. Something I didn't bring up last week, but I wanted to, was this whole idea that the Leagues Cup is going to be expanding in 2023, where you're going to have teams from the MLS and Liga MX down in Mexico playing a whole bunch of group stage games for about a month. It's going to be a pretty big tournament, and the big prizes that you get from that are new placements in the CONCACAF Champions League. But I also want to stress that there are still other championships, there are still other cups to be played for, and that by no means should you be focusing too much on Leagues Cup in 2023. We still have the US Open Cup that's going to resume play hopefully next year. So as much as this is a great step to establish more of a partnership between Mexico and the US, I want you also to look lower and look at the USL Championship and look at the lower leagues and really put your support into those games as well. That's how our name got into the good graces of MLS, by winning these tournament games for the US Open Cup. If you're going to support the Leagues Cup, make sure you also support the US Open Cup.
Folks, words of wisdom from Jeff Tebbets. If you are an FC Cincinnati fan, look lower. You heard him say it. Jeff, thank you for doing it, my friend. You did a great job.
Manu Ledesma signed for Indy 11. That should be a good enough reason to look one stage lower just for a few games.
I heard rumors that the shirt sales in Cincinnati rose by 200% when that sign happened, from 1 to 2. Subs, you are back. Maybe just for tonight, we got tonight. Forget about tomorrow. Subs, give us your final thoughts and go out on a high note, my friend, until the next time you're back for a night.
Well, thanks again for having me. Coach did a good job hosting tonight. Yeah, I mean, look, I want this club to get back to respectability. I want this club to be an example for other teams across the league eventually, hopefully someday. It's hard being, again, we've been Bengals fans for how long? We've been the laughing stock of the NFL for years, for decades, really. And I really just don't want FC Cincinnati to be that team in Major League Soccer. So I'm with Brad. I'm super thankful for everything that Jeff Berding has done for us. Look, this team would not be here if it wasn't for him. So I'll always be thankful for that. But yeah, there are things that need to be done to get this ship righted, and I'm hoping that the club takes the necessary steps. Today was just one of those first steps. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully there's some brighter days ahead.
Thank you, Subs. Thanks for coming back for a night. Thanks for doing it as always. And I haven't gotten to thank you on air personally. Thank you for everything you've done. I share all of CST in saying that.
Oh, Not, what, I don't know what to say to that, Coach.
Speechless. I nailed
I'm
it. So
speechless
for
for
my
once.
final thoughts, guys, I will say, the only way to be happy as a fan of a team like FC Cincinnati is to look at the game for what it is, the game. Don't think too much about the history of the team and look for the little developments, the little moments of joy. And now we have a new thing to analyze. What is the interim manager going to be like? Were there constraints on this team that we didn't get to see before? So we get to look at that and analyze it tactically, and we get to get out graph paper and spreadsheets. And Ken Hetker is going to be talking about how many touches per 90 minutes it takes in the final third to do things. And it's going to be great. Not good, but great. Guys, I am really excited that I got to host. I kind of hope that I never have to do it again, but thank you all for joining us. So for Bradley Weigel, for Jeffrey Tebbetts, for Nick Suberling, and for my personal friend, Mr. Ock, this is Coach Brad Goff reminding you that soccer is a privilege. So whether you're watching or coaching or playing, don't forget to smile. Up the Foozers!
The Foozers.